This one's for you. I wanted to share some comments out of a book that I've read with some friends, For the Love by Jen Hatmaker. Fighting for Grace in a World of Impossible Standards. She's hilarious, and she gets it. She gets what being a mom is like in this world, and so I found her to be very uplifting and very wise, and I wanted to share some of that with you. But before we do that, she has a part in her book that is called Thank You Notes. It's based on Jimmy Fallon, you know how he does the thank you notes. And so this is one of her thank you notes. Thank you, daylight and rearview mirror, for bringing to light the long, wiry chin hairs I missed during my morning tweeze session. You also exposed my eyebrows as an absolute tragedy. I have enough undetected facial hair to qualify me as a Sasquatch. So thanks for the heads up. By the way, sorry, car next to me at the stoplight. There is no other way. That cracks me up. All right. So the chapter I wanted to talk with you about today is called Spicy Families. Every family has different dynamics, and she describes her family as loud, obnoxious, loving to laugh, and just really kicked up a notch, as Emerald might say. And she said that when she would be around gentle families where the sister was like, "Oh, do you want my last cookie, brother?" And he's like, "Oh, thank you, sister. I would love that. Would you like some of my drink?" And she would look at them and want to vomit and say, "I've ruined my children's lives," because she said they're spicy. They're not like that. They're not gentle or mild. They're spicy. And so she would run home to her husband, and this is the dialogue she said. It would go, she would say to her husband, "What is wrong with us? We need a new system for people to talk nicer in this house. We are raising feral children. Why don't any of our kids knit? We need to quit raising our voices for the rest of our lives," all in caps. Or we are doomed. Our kids are probably going to kill people one day. They are on dark paths to incarceration or street violence. And her husband simply says, "Street violence here in the suburbs?" And she says, all in caps, "There could be street violence in these streets. We're near the end times. We need to figure out how to be more adorable. Our kids don't even know any hymns. How will we break out in spontaneous family worship? Let's just throw in the towel." I don't know if you've ever had conversations like this, but when you start measuring your family or you or your kids with other people's families and the way they act or the way they're shown on social media, which of course you have to realize are like the good moments, the highlights. I know I've done this countless times, and it just cracks me up because she nails it. You know, when other kids are polite and ours aren't, and I'm like, "What did I do? I failed them." Or Brewer's musical is Mary Poppins, and Lily comes home and she says, "You failed me. I've never seen Mary Poppins." And I'm like, "Yes, you have." But she was just too little to remember. And so all these things, they make you question and worry and feel guilt and shame and all these yucky things as a mom, like you're not doing enough. And she says this, and I love it. She says, "Is there any worry like parent worry? We are responsible for whole human lives here. This is it. This is their one childhood leading to adulthood. They absorb all the hours in this home emulating what they've seen. God help us. Every mother I know worries she isn't doing this right, failing in countless ways, seen and unseen. Our family faults seem so egregious, omissions and breakdowns and missteps that constitute a complete and total disaster." And then she said, she heard this recently, "If you are worried about being a bad parent, then you're probably a good one." Thank goodness. She said that when she let herself step outside of the being consumed with guilt and shame and worry, when she let herself think about parenting moments, that she realized she was a good parent, and that she was her own worst critic, and that we believe lies, falsities, when we get stressed and worried. And then I love this part where she says, I watched myself be a good parent and realized I am my own worst critic and sometimes even a liar, convincing myself that nothing good is happening and it's all my fault, or maybe Brandon's fault, and the kids are horrid and we are a disaster. But then she realized, really, it's mostly been good. She said, we have the good moments. We braid hair. We say we love each other. We tuck in at night and try to do our very best. She said, but some of the good is less obvious. The stuff that also happens in every home. The apologies, which it's so important for our kids to see us be able to say we're sorry and that we messed up. The conflict resolution, letting our kids figure it out, guiding them, showing them in the way that we work with our husband, spouse, and friends. The tough love, so hard. Sometimes it's easier just to give in than it is to hold your ground knowing it's for their best. The boundaries, the making up, the hard lessons. We are molding failure into character, both our kids and ours. Oh, molding failure into our character for both us and for our kids. That's huge. Every parent blows it. Every kid comes unhinged. Every family goes off the rails. That doesn't mean we're ruined. It means we're ordinary. Course correction is standard. Those moments often feel bad because they started bad, but they are actually good and they count too. So in the good things that we do, we are teaching valuable lessons to our kids. But in the hard, difficult, and bad things that happen, we are equally equipping and teaching and guiding our children for things that they will need when they're adults. It reminds me of when you're in the car with the GPS and you take a wrong turn, or it wants to go one way and you want to go another way, and it says recalculating, or it used to, or make a legal U-turn. That's kind of what we do as parents. We do our very best. We mess up. Let's recalculate, adapt, find a different way. And I think this is really helpful. So this is another one that I love. No guilt, no shame. Condemnation is a trick of the enemy, not the language of the heavens. Condemnation is a trick of the enemy, not the language of the heavens. Shame is not God's tool. If you feel ashamed or guilty, that is not coming from God, and it is not a good thing, and you need to shake that off. So if we are slaves to it, we are off the beaten path, and it is harsh out there, debilitating actually. If your inner monologue is critical, endlessly degrading, it's time to move back to grace. Only our overly critical, overly involved generation could engineer such carefully curated childhood environments and still declare ourselves failures. We are loving, capable moms and parents. Can I tell you my goals for my kids? And this, I want you to listen. This is so important, and it has been so helpful to me. Can I tell you my goals for my kids? That their childhood is mostly good. Not perfect, not ideal, not magical, but mostly good. People, I declare, mostly good, a raging success. If I am mostly patient and they are mostly obedient, great. If we are mostly nurturing and they turn out mostly well-adjusted, super. Every childhood needs a portion of lame, boring, aggravating, and tedious. Good grief. This is not a Nickelodeon set. They need something to gripe about one day. All right, right now, think about it. What do you gripe about with your parents and your childhood? Our kids need the same thing. But when you think about your childhood, was it mostly good? Mostly good is later remembered as loved and safe. She now labels her childhood magical, though her mom slapped her across the face in 7th grade and she never bought her Guess jeans and accidentally left her at church several times. Mostly good is enough. Mostly good produces healthy kids who know they are valued and either forget the other parts or turn them into funny stories. You are doing a wonderful job. Parenting is mind-numbingly hard, and no one is perfect at it and will all jack 1,000 parts, yet somehow, against all odds, it will be enough. God has called us. He has equipped us as moms. He has blessed us. And He knows we're going to do our very best. And hopefully it will be mostly good. But the important thing for us to remember is that God fills in the gaps, the big gaps that we leave. God is the one who goes with them when we can't be with them, both when they're under our roof and when they've left the nest. God is the one who is consistent in their lives, and He will take the seeds we have tried to plant, the mostly good seeds, and He's the one who's going to do something with them for our kids. So, I want you to remember that. For the spicy families, we all have some spice in our families, so I think this is for everybody. But I wanted to leave you with 2 other thank you notes from Jen Hatmaker. Thank you, coffee, for everything. You make life possible. I don't want to make you feel weird, but you are my soulmate. Well done. I hope you're all coffee drinkers. All right, and then this last one. Thank you, Netflix, for the 15 seconds between episodes to decide if I'm going to do anything with my life today. The answer is inevitably no. But nobody can say you didn't give me the option. Anyway, Jen Hatmaker for the love. I have a copy in the office, and I'll get a copy for the library as well, but you're welcome to mine. Wisdom with humor and reality. She gets it. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you remember that you're a good parent. You're doing your best, and mostly good is great. Have a great day.